Hello everyone, welcome back to Touch the Fire Twice. I'm Joshua and I'm here today to do an in-depth sniff and comparison review of the Bath & Body Works White Barn Candle Company 14.5 ounce sea salt and balsam candle that is in the early spring 2022, kind of that spring one collection. This is a returning scent. I believe perhaps the first time it appeared, at least with that name, was in early 2021 in that packaging that was pretty clear with just like some little bit of leaves going up the side of it, but for the most part transparent. I don't know, again, transparently, if this was other scents earlier on. It's somewhat of a not super incredibly unique or outside of the box scent for Bath & Body Works, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's been around, off and on for a couple of years, though I don't think it's a scent from back in the day in like the Slacken era when I was like more deeply into sniffing all of the Bath & Body Works releases. There were some years there like 2014 to 2018 where I was more than casual shopper, but I wasn't, knowing every single scent that was released. That was definitely, there were some other folks, certainly Donovan of the Bronze Blogger, since retired, and Kent of the Candle Channel, definitely were, I'd say, more active during those periods than I was. So maybe they have, would know more about if this is like a repackage or an earlier re-release of another scent. But I purchased it this year kind of on a whim, primarily because I really do love balsam. A lot of times balsam doesn't work outside of holidays. You've got fresh balsam and a million other conceptual balsams that are pretty good, all throughout the winter season. But when you get outside of winter, sometimes they just don't work. But I'm always kind of willing to give it a try. So I purchased, this is actually a repurchase, so this is the second one. I purchased and almost burned through one probably in the past month, sometime in one of the mid-January sales, probably the buy two, get twos at Bath & Body Works. So I'm going to sniff this one, tell you what I think, and I do have 4 Bath & Body Works candles from 2013, actually 2011 through 2021, wide range that I'm not saying it's a direct repackage of any of those, but they are similar to it. And I definitely get some things I'm pulling out that are like, the mix and match kind of jigsaw puzzle of scents. So this one here, this is the collection, kind of, again, like a lot of their collections now, somewhat random. Palo Santo is in this, Fresh Spring Morning, White Lavender Eucalyptus, Sea Salt and Balsam, Tea Rose. There's a handful in this collection. I think it's kind of interesting, actually. So it looks a bit almost like a messy, like I don't know, kind of like a painted wall or wallpaper that just has kind of some water damage almost to it, and torn away paper. And there is an embossing that just runs over the entire label that is glossy but rough in spaces. So it's I don't know, I kind of like the art direction of that, just with your traditional White Barn brushed gold lids. The notes on this one: salted ocean air, crisp coastal waves, and oceanside balsam with, of course, natural essential oils. Tough in this because they're telling us, other than the balsam, which, okay, oceanside balsam, whatever, balsam is balsam. The crisp coastal waves and salted ocean air are accords. So an accord is a mixture of scents, sometimes, authentic, actual real world scents, sometimes more just straight up, chemical compounds, synthetic mixes that aren't necessarily reminiscent of a specific, imitation of, water or algae or whatever it might be. But an accord is bringing in all these scents that just give you a sense of, that's where you get clouds and air and coastal waves, like what all encompasses the accord of waves. It could be a million things. A million different fragrance houses would do a million different variations of that. So it's tough because you don't know really what to expect, certainly when you're reading the notes on this online. If I smelled this last year, I wasn't impressed enough to buy it. And I really like it. It is, it's not complex. It's not, your Homeworks, your LAFCO, any of the blends that are going to be really complicated with top, middle, bottom notes and a lot of complexity that's going to come out when burning. It is a little bit more straightforward than that, which is okay. But it is, it's like this mixture of definitely the balsam, and it is the balsam from Bath & Body Works, but without, the fresh balsam having, the eucalyptus and the juniper and the things that really cool it down and make it winter holiday. It is just that tree, the pine tree. Probably 30 to 40% that, and the other side is sort of that ozonic, airy ocean, like a little bit of driftwood, a little bit of like a blue kind of, they say the waves, a little bit of that blue water accord that's borderline dewy. The driftwood's borderline kind of woody, powdery, just a little bit without being super heavy like a driftwood or oceanside candle would be. It just is like kind of soft of those, and it's pretty balanced between the air, the water, the wood in the water, and that balsam, let's say the shoreline balsam, if that's the picture they're painting. And when you burn it, it really does feel it's odd because when I don't know when you burn it. Is it supposed to be summer because it's sea salt and seaside? Is it more like a cold, Alaskan coastline? I'm not really sure. Is it, up in the Pacific Northwest? Maybe that's kind of what I could get from this. If they were to do an Americana collection, maybe Pacific Northwest would be something like this. But I really like it. It's cool. It is not quite crisp. There's a softness to it that doesn't really make it super cool or crispy. Something that it's comforting with that. Maybe there's a bit of some sort of wood in there, like a bit of a cedar wood or something, but just a little bit. But really like it, and it almost has a dewy springness to it that comes out when it's burning. That just right now in this transitional, we've got days where it's 60 degrees, we've got days where it's 20 degrees. We don't really know. The weather doesn't have an identity, so it's okay that this doesn't have an identity. I just really like it. It's something different, and it's a way to hold on to that woodsy balsam that I do love. Comparing that, initially my thoughts went to, this was right after, this was post-Slatkin, this was a late 2012 for a 2013 release, the Forest Collection. I have a video reviewing all of this collection when it was a test collection at Bath & Body Works back in late 2012, early 2013. Forest Trail, unfortunately, did not go wide. The imagery on this is exactly what the candle is for me. You are in a mountain, on a lake, in an Adirondack chair, surrounded by, explore the lakeside woods with an aromatic blend of redwood trees, cedar leaves, eucalyptus, and a hint of wild berries. This scent, though it is not a Slatkin scent, it is reminiscent of the Slatkin era. Oh man, you get the redwood, a little bit of cedar, a soft powdery eucalyptus. It's not quite balsam, but it's borderline balsam. And for me, this is a similar vibe, though they don't smell the same. It is a similar vibe. If I had to choose, I do like the complexity of the Forest Trail a bit better. But when you're thinking of a watery, non-tropical fragrance with some woodsy trees, kind of like shoreline, but some rocks, maybe not like a beach tropical that you're swimming in, but like shoreline with rocks that you'll don't get in there, you'll get hurt. That's where these both are similar. Then I was like, let me go back to Oceanside, which was, the OG Oceanside came out in Bath & Body Works Slatkin and Co. back in the day. This is the only version I have of it now, which was C.O. Bigelow is an apothecary that was an independent apothecary. It launched, I believe, in New York City. There was an original one still there near the West Village. It says established 1838. I think that's the original location. And that is almost more an independent pharmacy-ish. Or apothecary, but then it was bought by L Brands, and so when L Brands was doing Bath & Body Works candles and the Henry Bendel candles and C.O. Bigelow and Victoria's Secret candles with White Barn, they were all kind of sharing, I think, some of the different scents and blends and manufacturers and materials. So C.O. Bigelow was a line. This actually was sold in C.O. Bigelow stores, some other independent stores perhaps, taking the L Brands line, and in Bath & Body Works. This one, unfortunately, doesn't have notes on it. This was poured mid-2012. You can see the bottom there, it was just called Ocean. And they did bring C.O. Bigelow in, if you remember, at Bath & Body Works, they had some body care and things like that. Ocean, this is very much that sharp. This is the ozonic air. This is some driftwood. The notes on the original Oceanside, looking it up, some of them said citrus, warm sands, ocean air, not a whole lot of true details, but very ozonic like that. It just rained after a thunderstorm, and there's like the negative ions in the air, and it's the rain, hitting all of the greenery with that bit of sharpness. Probably some bergamot in there. Leans toward like what you think of as a traditional sort of men's cologne fragrance in some ways, but a fresh, but really intense. It is not that. However, it's got, again, there's like a little bit, it's similar. This is like the more mainstream, a bit calmer, a bit more straightforward than the intensity, and really like putting drawing a line in the sand, if you will, with the Ocean candle. But, in that family, There's one that's quite close to it. I'll save that for the last here. But there's another thing that I wanted to sniff it against, which is Green Grass from Slacken & Co. This was a single wick from the last year of Slacken at BBW. This was the spring 2012 collection. The notes in Green Grass were Shaded Grass, Dewy Greens, Meyer Lemon, Lily of the Valley, and Touch of Jasmine. Not quite your traditional fresh cut green grass like lawn scent, but a bit of that. Everything very green or yellow, like cut stems of flowers. A little bit of the florals, but very soft in the background florals, heavily dewy and round, not super herbaceous, not super floral. And there is some, when I burn this, there's a bit of a dewiness and a green, again, like a softness that's not quite powdery floral, but probably a bit of floral in there. And there are some similarities in that essence of it. But the most similar actually is Surf Shop, which was out last summer in 2021. Notes on this: Oceanside Birch, Sparkling Waves, Summer Spruce, and Sage. So you see similarities there when you talk about, okay, they both have waves, whatever kind of waves they have. One has birch and spruce, the other has balsam, and this mentions sage. This could have something. The difference here, and that's a great lid. That's a really nice lid on that. This is a bit sharper, more like the ocean or oceanside candle, where I don't know if it's because there are multiple woods in here or what, but there is also something sweet and fruity in this as well. Versus this is, you get truly the balsam. It's not spruce, it's not birch, it is truly balsam. But these are like very much sister scents, where this one's a little bit more sharp and intense, maybe a little astringent. This one is softer, dewier, greener, if that makes any sense. Not exactly any straight shots across, but similar enough that I figured it was worth doing sort of the traditional in-depth sniff comparison review. But I really do enjoy this. I don't know that it's something that is like a must-have forever, but I did repurchase it because I'm burning through it already, and I feel like it can definitely burn into February before I go full on into my springs and tropicals into the summer. So if you haven't sniffed it, check it out. If you have, let me know what you think of it. If there's anything else that it reminds you of, or just what the vibe is, what you feel when you're burning it, would love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, guys, take care.